Another bizarre news week in Detroit, and again, we're talking about the Detroit mayoral election. How many more ways can this thing get messed up? And the latest buzz on who's running and who's not for Michigan's open U.S. Senate seat. Plus, lots of other things to talk about, from Ficano's folly to Andy Dillon's nightmare. My week starts right now.
Michigan's turnaround is being powered by things we do better than anywhere else in the world. Today's global leaders routinely turn to Michigan to work on their most difficult problems. That's because the engineering talent in this part of the world is simply the best. So many possibilities lie ahead for Michigan's future. These opportunities are here and starting to happen. The vision for the new Michigan. Share it, talk it up, drive it home. Funding is also provided by Delta.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nolan, Finley of the Detroit News. Christy McDonald's enjoying a little vacation time. Well, the circus hasn't left town yet. This week, the Wayne County Board of Canvassers refused to certify the Detroit mayoral primary results, saying that 18,000 votes weren't properly tallied. Now it's up to the state to again sort out yet another Detroit mess. The Board of Canvassers is expected to meet in Detroit early next week to certify the results, and that's where we'll start my week tonight with contributor Stephen Henderson, editorial page editor of the Detroit Free Press, and our good friend Craig Fahle, host of the aptly named Craig Fahle Show on WDET Radio. Gentlemen, do you ever get tired of saying only in Detroit?
It seems every election there is something that somebody's going to complain about, but this takes it to a new level. The fact that they were actually considering tossing out 18,000 votes, not because voters did anything wrong, but because they couldn't figure out how to properly count them, is ridiculous. This should have been resolved. It shouldn't even be kicked up to the state.
They did properly count them. I understand it. Just instead of using the little tally marks, they used Roman numerals. Steve, is that enough to keep this election in limbo?
Well, no, it's not enough to disqualify anybody's vote, is the point. I mean, it's very clear in state law, state election law, that you don't have to do this, and that the procedure, if you find a problem with write-in votes, is to recount them. They should have opened up the ballot boxes and had the inspectors recount them, but of course the Board of Canvassers waited until the very last day under the deadline, the 14th day, to certify, so they didn't have the option to do that. I mean, and I think the clerk's got to answer for something here. Why did it take so long? Where did this theory of disqualifying votes on such a thin legal ground come from? She hasn't said, and this was very close to a massive disenfranchisement. 1/5 of the total votes cast in the election she wanted to just throw in the garbage.
And, again, we're talking about the Wayne County clerk, Kathy Garrett, who's the sister of Al Garrett of ASME, right?
Yeah,
and,
I'm not sure that, Kathy Garrett actually is a pretty straight by the numbers clerk, typically. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of.
So what happened here?
My suspicion is that the Napoleon campaign had something to do with advancing this theory, because they were the beneficiaries, and the clerk misinterpreted, and the council there misinterpreted the law to say you can get rid of votes for this.
But I don't know how they're really the beneficiaries in a situation like this. Okay, so now you can say, oh, I came in first in the primary instead of second. There's going to be a whole lot of people that filled out Duggan's name in there and filled in that circle are just going to be that much more motivated to go to the polls in November.
And that's helped Duggan throughout this thing. Every time he's been sort of screwed, if you will, in this process, his supporters have fired up and the money's come in. But if you look at this situation, I mean, Benny got his fanny kicked in that primary, and that's a hard thing to go out and talk about in this November campaign.
This doesn't change it.
Yeah, but if all of a sudden the conversation changed and he's out there saying, I was the #1 vote getter in the primary, it's a lot better than trying to claw your way back up from the hole he was in.
I think that's what got his eyes big earlier this week when those numbers came out, was all of a sudden you change the narrative of the fall campaign, and some of the Napoleon insiders were earlier, even before the canvassers were meeting, leaking that they were suspecting that this was coming, that there was some sort of overcount for Duggan, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think this all just happened by coincidence. There's some effort here to try to mislead, and I think we need to know the truth.
But that's been the case throughout this election. Throughout this campaign, Craig, it hasn't been about one candidate's merits versus another candidate's merits. It's all been about trickery and technicalities and let's go to court, see who we can get knocked off the ballot and what have you. It's not the sort of election Detroiters deserve.
No, it's not the one that they need right now either. We need to have a substantive discussion about issues, and all that's happening now as a result of this is that all the conspiracy theories that exist out there about the way that Detroit runs its elections are brought back to the surface. You've got Tom Barrow now saying that he's demanding that there be some sort of a recount. You've got
Will he never go away?
Crystal Crittenden calling for a new election, which is just completely impractical and unfeasible in any possible way. And so it's just, you give more fodder to the conspiracy theorists that want to say that this has somehow been rigged.
Well, Napoleon asked Steve that the federal government come in and put monitors in. I mean, wouldn't that just certify Detroit's position as a third world entity?
Well, yeah, I mean, but you know, there's no question that if there had been some sort of overcount in this election, if they had, there was some rumor that there were double counting of certain votes, if that kind of thing had happened, I think there's no question we should have federal monitors here. It's too serious.
Could the state do the same thing?
The state could play a role in that, I think. But the bigger issue here, I think, is, again, this idea on Benny Napoleon's part that to win, he's got to somehow reconfigure the way the votes get counted, reconfigure the way the election is managed. Really, what he's got to do, he's got to get more votes. He got clobbered in the primary, and I think he's got to retool and say, you know, here's the message I'm trying to get you behind, and this is why you ought to make me mayor.
So what is that?
Isn't there any irony here, though, in the fact that you have a candidate calling for federal oversight of the election when he's been basing his entire campaign on the fact that we don't need any outside interference in our business here in the city of Detroit?
But remember, he brought in the federal government when he was running the police department, said you need to come in here and look at this mess we have here, which was a curious position for the chief to take. But you talked about, Steve, you talked about Napoleon's message. What is that message? What does he need to say to voters to make up the deficit he experienced in the primary? You did an examination of these primary results and found that he was defeated in every category in nearly every precinct.
Yeah.
So what's he got to do to make up that ground?
I think he's got to appeal to, I think still, and again in Detroit, the most motivated voting bloc is the change vote. People who are tired of the way things are, who are tired of hearing excuses for why things are the way they are, and they want to hear about something new and something innovative. Not that Duggan, I think Mike Duggan articulated that all that well during the primary. It's just that I think he symbolized change or positioned himself to symbolize change in voters' minds much better than Benny Napoleon did. Benny talked about, you know, I'm your neighborhood guy. I'm like you. I've been here my whole life. That does not say change.
And he's accelerated that this week. I mean, he says, he keeps mentioning the fact that Duggan just moved in here for Livonia, which is a fair tactic, but it continues to put the focus on outsider versus insider rather than change. Now, Craig, you talk to Detroiters all day long. Yeah. What are they looking for?
They want concrete plans on how their life is going to improve in some capacity. And when you look at Benny Napoleon, what he's trying to do, that's going to be a big part of this. Say, I'm a guy that understands what you're going through. And now what he's folding into it is this 1 square mile plan where he's talking about making sure that there's a police officer that can coordinate people, get them working together, getting people motivated to fix their 1 square mile of the city of Detroit. And if you can find a way that people understand what you're talking about, how that's going to work, then you might be able to massage that into there so that people feel that you have an actual idea on how to fix it.
Okay. So we're more than a year away from the next U.S. Senate election in Michigan. And as you know, Carl Levin, a Democrat, is not running this time. Some popular Republicans have decided against running, and not many Democrats were interested. So guys, this is a seat that comes open, a Senate seat comes open once in a blue moon. Why isn't there more interest in it?
Well, think about this for just a second. You've got the Republicans at the national level who are chomping at the bit to funnel a ton of cash into this state to win that seat. There's not been a Republican senator since Spencer Abraham from Michigan. They desperately need this one if they want to get control of the Senate in Washington. But the problem is you've got 2 really good potential candidates in Mike Rogers and Dave Camp, but they've got plum assignments in the House. They don't want to leave that. And statewide election for Republicans right now, they recognize, these guys are not stupid, they recognize it's going to be a difficult road to hoe on a statewide election for a Republican in Michigan this year.
Yeah, but Steve, when these things come up, we had an open governor seat last time around. Everybody and their brother were in it. We had a dozen candidates between the two parties. What is it about this Senate seat that folks don't want to take a chance on? You had one Democrat sign up, and Gary Peters, and they pretty much said, okay, Gary, you can have the nomination before we even get to a primary. And Republicans have one announced candidate as well, Terry Lynn Land.
Yeah.
And you got a couple others sniffing around it. Rob Steele out from Ypsilanti, Kim Small from Oakland County, the guy from Holland, the mayor. But in terms of the big names in Michigan politics that a year or so ago we thought would get in this race, they're not there.
One of the things I think is a real deterrent is money. This is anticipated to be one of the most expensive campaigns ever, and I think if you aren't somebody with either the ability to self-finance a lot of it, which Terry Lynn Land clearly has, or a candidate who's already got a big war chest,
like Peters.
I think the money becomes a difficulty. I mean, where are you going to get it, and do you want to spend 10, 12 months just raising money to take a
Craig,
shot at
you
that
said
seat?
that the money is just waiting to be invested.
I think if the right candidate was there on the Republican side, there will be a lot of money coming into Michigan from outside. I don't think the fundraising is going to be that difficult because, again, this is going to be a critical seat.
Even though this has been a Democratic state in federal elections
that's the thing.
for as long as anybody can, we still think Republicans would invest here?
I think they would. Like I said, if the right candidate was in the race. That's why they wanted Mike Rogers so badly. He has made a big name for himself on a national level. He's on Meet the Press about every other week, it seems. But like I said, he's got that great committee assignment.
But let me ask you this,
give that up.
Steve. And you look at Kentucky race where Mitch McConnell's in
right.
trouble, and he's got a Tea Party candidate running against him in the primary, a strong Democrat in the general election, and the message they're sending is anti-Washington. You've been part of this problems. We want somebody from outside Washington. Why would we think that a Camp or a Rogers, both Washington insiders, would do well here?
Well, I'm not sure either one of them would do well here. I mean, I think Mike Rogers would have a better shot than Dave Camp. Just off name recognition. Most people outside of Dave Camp's district don't know who he is.
But isn't that true of Gary Peters?
That's not true of Gary, who was the lottery commissioner, who ran for governor. He lost. But that's somebody who's been around a long time. He's on the ballot a lot. He's not the most recognized.
Outstate. I mean,
I think Gary Peters has a higher name recognition than Mark Schauer, who's going to run for governor.
And that's probably true. But
on a
does he have
side,
a higher name recognition than Terry Land, who actually held statewide?
Yeah, one statewide office. But, look, Terry Lynn Land's campaign, I think, gives you an idea into the problems that the Republicans are going to be dealing with. I mean, her whole campaign right now is, I'm conservative and I'm electable. And it's interesting
I think
to me
that's actually a good setup.
But it's interesting to me that in her own campaign message, she's acknowledging that there seems to be a bit of a disconnect between those two concepts right now on a statewide level.
Yeah.
It tells you that it's going to be difficult where the Republican Party has been going in recent weeks and months to win a statewide election. The demographics aren't working in their favor in a lot of ways. So you've got Terry Lynn Land, who has one statewide election, but she also has to say, I'm conservative, I'll get through the primary, but then I can win at a statewide level, saying that there's nobody else out there that's like that right
Well,
now.
and how much will the Republican establishment get behind her? I mean,
that's the key question.
I know they felt like they could get a bigger name, a more conservative candidate into that race. How disappointed are they going to be that they didn't get it and then still line up behind her?
And that's the key question. But she brings, as you mentioned, she's a self-funder to a certain extent.
Yeah.
She put $2 million in her Secretary of State race. She probably would put that an equal amount. That's a good start. That brings her about even with Peters in this race. And if she can get out there, she's an excellent grassroots campaigner. And if she does win the primary, and again, there are other names in this race who could rise up and challenge her. I mean, the key is, can they get enough attention, enough money to mount a race? But a Republican who can get up, work the grassroots statewide, I think that would give them an edge. But again, Michigan is a strange state in that it votes Democrat in federal races and Republican in House races.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's very hard from a national perspective where, the Republicans are charged up thinking that they may take the Senate next year, but you don't hear a lot about them figuring that Michigan seat into that calculus. So I'm not sure how confident they are about what will happen.
Which is, to me, I think it's foolish if they don't think about investing in this race, because it's not as if Gary Peters is some sort of super candidate that's unbeatable.
Yeah. But Craig, do you hear a lot of anti-Washington sentiment among your callers?
Not so much. I mean, you know, there's some of it out there, but it seems to have died down quite a bit. I think people just want it to function in some capacity. They may not necessarily like everything that's going on, but you know, it's not as vitriolic, I don't think, the anti-Washington sentiment as it was a little bit ago.
Well, one of the things that could change that is, I mean, we've got 3 big sort of deadlines coming up in Washington later this fall. You know, they got to pass a budget. There's another debt limit extension up. All of these things, if you can't work all that stuff out, and then the sequester, if you don't fix that, it's in the budget for another year.
And a bigger whack to defense.
That's right, and a bigger whack to defense. You get all those 3 things happening at the same time. Now people's attention will be back on what are they doing.
It could be a real throw the rascals out mood by the time this is done.
Right.
Time now for a quick roundup of some other news this week. Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy sent a letter to the county auditor telling him not to release his report on the over budget and scrap downtown jail project. But one county commissioner says taxpayers have a right to know what went wrong. How does the possibility of criminal charges change the dynamic of this whole jail debate?
Well, I think, you know, I mean, you're talking about $100 million
Disappeared.
that went somewhere that nobody, I mean, I would ask anybody to go down there and drive past that site and look at what's there, look at what's built, and tell me where $100 million went. You could build a whole building.
I mean, it looks like something you'd throw together in your backyard.
Exactly.
You know, go down to Home Depot with your pickup truck, and $99 and get that.
It looks like that, but I mean, obviously that's deceiving, because there's a whole lot of work that had to happen on the site before they even started erecting the building portion of this. But what's interesting to me is, you know, people are upset that we're not going to get this report right away. I'm okay with that personally, because we know that somebody screwed up. We know that it's way over budget. We're going to find that out eventually. If this allows for an investigation to go forward and we really get to the bottom of it, I'm willing to wait for that.
So,
I think a lot of people are too.
Steve, how worried should Bob Ficano be that Kim Worthy's got a hold of his britchy leg?
I don't think it looks good. I mean, I think you know, he's been able to escape so far by saying, you know what, these are people who worked for me, who I trusted,
Blame Turkey,
who did something that I wasn't in on here. This is his project, and it's going to be very difficult for him, I think, to distance himself from this. You mentioned Turkey Mullen. I wouldn't be surprised to see her name come up again in this whole mess. And Azam Elder.
Well, it already has. I mean, Azam Elder, as you know, the Free Press pointed out, was responsible for hiring the oversight person who happened to work for the county 3 days before his new company got hired to do the oversight on this project. I mean, it's that kind of stuff that people
He seems to have disappeared before the money started being spent.
He certainly wasn't overseeing anything.
Well, Governor Rick Snyder and others are standing by State Treasurer Andy Dillon despite his mounting domestic problems. Guys, can Dillon do his really hard job and also manage what appears to be an all-out war with his ex-wife?
Boy, I don't know. I mean, I think this is a tough situation. I mean, it's a personal matter, right?
Become very public.
Nobody's divorce, you know, and you think about the things that go on between 2 people when you're dissolving a marriage. It gets ugly. It gets bitter. People say things that you know, they wouldn't have said before, maybe aren't true. You don't want to see that play out in public, and you sure don't want to see that affect somebody with as important a public job as Andy Dillon. I think, though, you do have to start asking how attentive he can be to his work while this goes on. I mean, maybe he ought to take a break, sort this out, and come back a little later.
And Craig, we were hearing a lot from Andy Dillon for a while. He was sort of the point man on this Detroit takeover, and lately we've hardly seen Andy Dillon. I mean, we've seen less of him than Charles Pugh.
Well, but I think a lot of that is because Kevin Orr has sort of taken over that role. Now that you have, you know, the emergency manager in place, then the treasurer's role, I think, sort of shrinks to a little bit to the background anyway. So I think there was going to be less sight of Andy Dillon while this is going on anyway. But the fact that we didn't really see him addressing the Pontiac situation, the fact that Pontiac came out from underneath an emergency manager, that's big news, you know?
And it's a big victory for the administration.
Exactly. It shows a lot of people that maybe had their doubts about it, that maybe some good can come of the emergency manager situation. Yeah, he could have been out there in front.
Well, earlier this week, the National Security Agency declassified 3 secret U.S. court opinions showing how it collected thousands of emails and other communications by Americans with no connection to terrorism. And despite earlier assurances, we now find out the privacy of thousands of individuals was indeed breached. Are you worried about Big Brother?
Less than I was before we knew that this was going on. I mean, you know, that's one of the good things about this is that we now actually have a better sense as to the types of things that they're doing. It's going to be a lot harder for them to do this in the future.
Yeah, but Steve, I mean, they first said, oh, nobody's privacy was breached. We didn't, you know, we just gathered numbers. We didn't listen to. Now we find out accidentally thousands of Americans did have their privacy breached. How angry should we be about this, and what should the response be?
Well, I mean, I think we had a conversation with Carl Evan about this this week, and he pointed out a couple things. One is that, you know, this idea that phone calls are private. I think we're a little too obsessive about that. They aren't private. The phone company keeps all these records anyway. They know who you're calling. They know how long you've been on the phone, and they keep all of that information. Now, when that transfers to government, then you're talking about something different. And in this case, you are talking about accidental listens in on people's phone calls. The question is, how quickly did they respond once it was found out that it was done, and how do you try to prevent it in the future?
But given what we've seen at the IRS, where you've seen what people thought was their private information abused, misused, you know, apparently, what safeguards are there to prevent the government from misusing this information once they have access to it?
I think you got to have Congress to start to act and put some reins on the regulatory agencies that do this.
Spell out in the law exactly what you are allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. Don't leave it up to the NSA to interpret it.
Okay. Time now, guys, for headlines. Well, this week we have some lawmakers. Oh, you got away. Well, this week you got some state lawmakers saying that Michigan could probably go to an 80-mile-an-hour speed limit on its roads. And I just wonder if they've ever driven these roads. You can barely go 65 on these roads without losing your teeth. And, you know, is this a good idea?
Well, I mean, let's just get rid of the speed limit. If it's going to be 80, that means people are going to drive 90, and before the cops pull you over, let's just say, well, drive as fast as you want.
I love the idea of getting to Mackinac in 3 hours.
Yeah,
that's not bad at all.
But I think they should enforce the minimum speed limit. You don't want to be coming up 80 on somebody talking 50 who can't, or driving 50 can't talk on their cell phone and match the accelerator at the same time. What do you got, Steve?
A list of the best Detroit Pistons ever came out this week, and number 1 on the list is not Dave Bing. It is Isaiah Thomas.
No kidding.
I think this is a slight on the mayor.
I don't know.
Poor mayor's been having a bust.
The mayor is the prototype for Isaiah Thomas. There's no Isaiah Thomas without a Dave Bing. He revolutionized the point guard position.
The mayor's been having a rough stretch.
There you go. My headline, Kerry Bentivolio has been sort of quiet in Congress so far until this week when he said it would be a dream come true to be able to impeach President Obama. Unless, you know, but the only problem is there's no evidence to suggest that it should be done.
Just run impeachment here.
These town hall meetings are getting Congress people in trouble.
Now, come on, Craig. We know we've been in the parking lot at DET and we've seen all those in Corollas with the curled up impeach Bush stickers on them. You guys got no room.
Those are citizens, not Congress people.
You got no room to
That's right. It's just
point
people.
Fingers. So, okay, guys, that's all the time we have this week for MiWeek. Remember, check out MiWeek.org and catch up on shows or share these shows with your buddies on Facebook and Twitter. For all of us at Detroit Public TV, I'm Nolan Finley. Thanks for watching. Come back and see us next Friday for more MiWeek.